What is design thinking? A very short introduction. A group of superficially diverse, trendy young people huddle around a vast whiteboard full of sticky notes. Their leader is poised with a Sharpie, ready to sweep a broad line around the messiness in a masterstroke of creative genius, to finally once and for all solve the big problem. A clock in the background signifies the time pressure they are under. Just a few hours to save the company, consultants charging £800 an hour. The pressure is intense. This is not design thinking. It's a misrepresentation fueled by the very prejudices about designers, creativity and genius that the design thinking movement has evolved to overcome. So what then really is design thinking? First, we need to consider the question, what is designing? The world in which we live is a combination of things that have been consciously designed by people, forces of nature that are beyond human control, and emergent properties that result from the complex interactions of people, designed things, and nature. It's messy and often unpredictable. The 20th century saw the rise of a class of professionals spread across diverse fields who describe themselves as designers. People who can bring some degree of order to the chaos, to redesign the world and how we live in it. This was a powerful idea, and designers like Le Corbusier and Dieter Rams acquired a cultural significance as the geniuses of modern capitalism. In the second half of that century, academics began to investigate and question the powers of the designer. There did seem to be something special about what they do and how they work, for good or bad. Designers were having a massive impact on the world, reshaping it beyond recognition. Now, this new discipline, design research, critically studying how designers work, formed as a systematic attempt to codify how designers think and operate. The term design thinking appeared in 1959, first used in John E. Arnold's book Creative Engineering. Richard Buchanan is credited with the idea that design thinking is especially powerful in addressing hard to define and almost impossible to solve wicked problems, further amplifying the idea that designers have special powers. The current wave of interest in design thinking dates back to 2008, with a Harvard Business Review article by Tim Brown of the IDEO Design Consultancy. This marked a radical shift in the idea away from the notion that designers themselves are special people, refocusing on the process of designing as collaboration with ordinary people. Brown's company had hit the limit of what they could do for the companies and organisations they worked with. Their key insight was that they needed to step back from being the designers and help the real experts, the people on the ground, out in the field, to become designers and to do the designing with facilitation. So they moved away from designing solutions in their studio for clients and towards being facilitators of design by collaborations of people who are not professional designers. For example, when helping to redesign hospital casualty procedures, they brought together doctors, nurses, managers, technicians, and patients. They used a design anthropological method to help these people to understand their organisation and its processes from perspectives they would not usually get to see. And most importantly, they sought to transfer the ability to do designing, what we call design capability, into the organisations, so that everyone could become a designer to some extent, and designing would become a continuous process. So this paradigm shift in design thinking converged with four other movements. Participatory design, an approach that emerged from Scandinavian industrial relations in which workers and management were seen as equal partners in the design process. Everyday designing, technologies and systems are developing so that everyone may design and redesign the things they use in the world they live in. See the work of Ezio Manzini. The makerspace movement and the re-emphasis on craft work, encouraging people to tinker, experiment, invent, and become makers. And finally, social and political movements that are critical of the domination of design and innovation by white male Anglo-American elite. I see the work of Lucy Suchman and Dori Tunstall. Out of that emergent complexity, we get design thinking as an ethical approach to innovation and change. It concerns long-term, continuous, slow, patient, inclusive, collective work to improve our world according to our ethical values. It works with real people, making the most of their local knowledge and capabilities to develop solutions with them. And it develops and sustains design capabilities within communities.